What's up, savages? Today's video is about learning and learning lessons. So without further ado, let's begin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gandhi's Thoughts, brought to you by My Nutrition. I am Gandhi, and today we got two things to talk about. The second thing that's going to be coming on the second half of the show is going to be I'm going to teach you guys how to actually run a bracket. I'm going to show you exactly what you can expect with regionals. We're going to run through multiple different scenarios, and I'm just going to basically show everyone how the losers bracket works, since no one seems to understand. But before we get into that, I have to clarify one thing. So yesterday, after I released my Optic video, Hex reached out to me, and we talked today again as well, and he was basically like, I didn't know anything about this until 3 days ago. And that's accurate. Hex didn't know anything until 3 days ago. And he asked me, who I reached out to. And I said, I reached out to Clay. And he goes, does Clay run this team? And I was like, fuck. He really put me in my place. But, it's something that I needed. I needed to, understand that. He said, their job is to play. My job is to make those decisions. Next time, you got to come to me. And so, yesterday's video kind of, I made their backs maybe a little bit against the wall with their fans being like, oh, why wouldn't you attend? But, again, this is on me. So I dropped the ball on the two biggest teams in professional COD. I'll fucking drink my sorrows away to that. But, there's nothing set in stone. We have no idea if either of those two teams will be coming. Obviously, we want Optic and Envy both to come. But, again, it's a learning curve for me, which still not an excuse. I'm used to dealing with Halo players who I can just kind of reach out to individually as a player and be like, oh, hey, you want to come? And they're like, oh, yeah, let me talk to my team. I forget how much of a grind these COD players actually are on, especially with the $1 million tournament. So I apologize to all the Optic fans out there. I should have reached out to Hex going down the line, or moving forward, if you will. I'll be going to Hex if we ever do one of these again and we want Optic to come, which obviously everyone wants Optic to come. So there you go. So that's the first part out of the way. I suck. All hate directed at me. It's not UGC. It's me. Anyways, moving forward, let's talk about brackets today. I'm tired of admitting that I suck at things, right? It's been two videos where it's just like, oh yeah, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. My ego's just in the fucking shitter. So I'm going to show you guys something that I am good at, and that's brackets. So let's begin. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at this bracket, this right here is all going to be routine to you. If you look at this is round 1 of COD Regionals. Everything here, everyone's familiar with, right? 1 plays 16, then they move on and they play the winner of 8 and 9, right? 4 versus 13, 5 versus 12. This is all simple. The winner's bracket's never been a problem for anyone. Anyone ever, 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 ever. The problem lies with what happens in the loser's bracket, right? Look at this. This is where it's all a cluster of shit, because you see this right here, and you're like, oh yeah, round 1 losers, they play, the winner of this round, and it's just not how it works. So I'm going to basically do a little bit of a rundown here. So if you look at R, I don't know why I scrolled up there, it was next. And if you look at, section R right here, the loser of A plays the loser of B. You take this, and you scroll up, and A and B are right here. So A would be the loser of Complexity and Final Boss, play the loser of Phase and SB. So it doesn't matter how you fill this out. So I'm just going to go ahead and say Complexity wins, 3-1. And I put these names in, half-assedly. It gets a pain when you use a challenge bracket. And if anyone wants to use these brackets, it's very, very simple. It's CHALLONGE.com. And what you do is you sign up. They don't send you stupid emails or anything like that, but you sign up, and then you put the participants in order, so 1 through 16. So it's, Complexity, TK, Curse LV, Envy, Optic, blah, 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 all the way down. And then once you have it, you just hit Start Bracket. And then once you start the bracket, it sets it all up for you, and you know everything. But, looking at it, brackets get a little bit weird in the loser's bracket. They really do, and that's why, we're going to kind of run through this. And I'm basically going to stop once we find where we'll have our COD Champs teams. So FaZe versus FB, it doesn't matter which one you pick here. I'm going to go ahead and say FaZe. I'm going to stick with my predictions. I think this is going to be a hell of a game. But I'm just going to show you guys the routes. Envy versus Xfinity. As much as, you know, Xfinity's this nerdy fucking team with a bunch of dumb fucking nades, I still think there's no way in hell Envy loses round 1 in COD Regionals. Moving down, Optic versus Elevate. Yeah, Optic got eliminated by Elevate at Philly, but we were looking at a much different Optic team as well as a much different Elevate team. I think Optics takes it 3-1. They probably lose the second search. Anyways, moving forward. TK versus ADV. This game's going to be a little bit hype, but I'm on a TK bandwagon, so I'm just going to go and pencil this in. And Denial versus Vex. I think... Wait, actually, hold on. I got to talk to you fuckers real quick. Why the fuck is Vex so dumb? Like, I can't believe a team before COD Regionals isn't going to practice because 2 players aren't getting along. Because they're arguing. Oh, wait, that's happening with Curse Las Vegas. What is wrong with this people? Oh my God. Okay, anyways, moving forward. So, Denial beats them because Vex is a dysfunctional family. Moving down the list, we have the multiple personalities of Curse Las Vegas taking on Rise. I think realistically here, the only way Curse LV loses this one is if Parasite doesn't show up. Now, yesterday, you know, we saw some tweets. He got all emotional where he's like, you know, I used to love gaming. It was my way to release stress or relieve stress. Now it's my main stress producer or whatever, however he worded it. So things are just not looking good for the Hagalish right now. But I'm just going to go ahead and assume that he reaches up his skirt, removes his tampon, pulls out his testicles, and he becomes a man. And then he realizes, hey, it's $1 million tournament. I got to go to those. Anyways, moving forward. Curse LV takes this one, 3-1, moves on. And then Justice vs. NY, I think this is going to be one of the closer games in round 1, and I'm super excited for it, but I'm just going to go ahead and go with Justice. And this is where things get awesome. So, moving down here, we are now in the loser's bracket, and you'll be able to see exactly how this works. So, round 1 of the losers, as we all know, FB Final Boss is going to be playing strictly business. Now, Final Boss, they play, whoever loses A plays the loser of B. So, seeds mean dick. It doesn't matter what your seed is at all. All that matters is the place on your bracket when you go into the loser's bracket. Now, yes, there are other brackets where, you know, your seed does matter. So, you know, if you watch sports, all right, if you watch hockey in particular, when they do their playoffs, right, the highest seed plays the lowest seed possible. So let's say, you know, the 1 seed plays the 8 seed, and the 8 seed upsets the 1 seed. Well, the 2 seed would then, as long as the 2 seed doesn't get upset and they move on, 2 seed plays the 8 seed. It reseeds the bracket that way. Whereas, you know, in gaming, we have a set structure. 1 plays 16, 8 plays 9, the winner of that plays each other. It doesn't matter if 16 beats 1, they still have to play 8 versus 9. They wouldn't play the 2 seed. And the reason why it is, it's a lot, 1, it's a lot of extra work, but 2, I think it's just the double elimination factor. I'm not 100% on that, but that's just the 2 different bracket types that you can see. And I actually prefer the hockey one better, but anyways, moving on. So, then looking at this right here, so complexity versus phase, everything here. So, Xfinity, the loser of C, plays the loser of D. Now, this is where I want everyone to kind of hold on to your dicks, all right? If you look at this right here, I said the loser of C plays the loser of D. If by some weird, catastrophic bullshit event, not bullshit because Xfinity and Elevate are both good teams, but if the COD gods are on, here, I'll actually show you exactly. Look at this. See how it's lined up here? If the COD gods are on the sides of the Xfinity and Elevate, that means that we could potentially see an Optic versus Envy round 1 of the losers bracket, and the winner of that would still not even be guaranteed going into COD Champs, but that would eliminate them right away. So if you are an Envy and an Optic fan and you see that Envy loses round 1, you go, shit, I need Optic to win round 1. Right? Like, you don't want to be in that predicament. You really don't, especially if you're a fan of that team. But also, you know, look at that, the curtain went up back again. I'm here just hanging out. But also, it's the same thing if you're a Complexity fan, right? Complexity, if Complexity drops round 1 to the final boss, you know, they look at playing strictly business or phase round 1. Right? Like, things get a little bit scary on the top half of the bracket. It's definitely a lot more stacked than the right side. Anyways. So, right here, round 2 means not a whole lot for the loser. Right? They still have, right? When you're in round 2, you have to win one more round in both the winners and the losers bracket. So this round is the most important round to win, period, because it's a huge weight alleviated off your shoulders. So we're going to go ahead and pencil this in here. I'm just going to go Complexity takes phase 3-2. Moving down, Envy versus Optic. It doesn't matter. Okay, one thing. Again, it does not matter which team actually wins this series because they get the exact same spot in the loser's bracket. Again, it goes down to the loser of J, and here, I'll show you right now. So if you look at this, Envy Optic, the loser of J still goes right here. And they're looking, so the loser of J, which would, the loser of Envy and Optic, would then play the winner of ADV and Vex. So, assuming Vex doesn't get their shit together and they have a terrible event, I'm just going to go ahead and, which they should because that's how it works. Envy or Optic, no matter who loses this game, Envy or Optic, no matter who loses this game, will be coming right down here to play ADV. So, I'll just do this for the case of Mr. X's predictions because I know he was interested to see how the loser's bracket works out for everyone. I'm just going to go ahead and say, you know, 3-2 Optic. You're welcome, Mr. X. I'm doing your predictions. Burn in hell. So then move down here. TK versus Denial. This is going to be the biggest matchup for TK. This is the biggest match in Formal's life is going to be round 2. So we're going to see a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and say it's a 3-2 to get their blood pumping. And then Curse LV versus Justice. I'm just going to go ahead and say that as it stands now, I don't even know if Curse Las Vegas is attending the event. So, like, I'm just going to go ahead and pencil Justice in. So, now, right here, round 3, okay? Round 3, this is going to be the semifinal matchup. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit for you. Round 3 is the semifinal matchups. These 4 teams are guaranteed into COD Champs as it stands right now. And it doesn't mean as it stands right now, but as in regards to this bracket, if this is how, if the semifinals are Complexity versus Optic and TK versus Justice, Complexity, Optic, and TK have themselves a bid into COD Champs. They can basically put down their controllers and stop playing. I think. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So, then you come all the way down here. But, okay, so they could put down their controllers and stop for the rest of the regionals if they want to just hang out and celebrate that they're going to COD Champs. But I think the seeding from regionals has something to do with the seeding, or the placement of regionals has something to do with the seeding for COD Champs, so everyone's going to be trying their tits off still. But anyways, let's go into the loser's bracket. This is where shit gets fucking nuts. Alright, so Curse Las Vegas. Alright, if they lose, so the loser of Curse Las Vegas and Justice will then play the winner of FB and SB. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say there's no way FB is going to win, so I'm just going to show you the road that SB has to go on in order to basically make it out. So, right here, if you look at V, the loser, or the winner of FB and SB, or FB and FaZe, or Complexity versus either of those two teams, will be playing the loser of Curse Las Vegas and Justice, assuming it works out that way, or keep in mind, it could be Curse New York here. It could be Curse New York here, and then either way, the loser of this matchup plays the winner of this. So, look at this, right? Now, round 2 of the losers is the exact same way of round 2 in the winners. You have to win 2 rounds in the losers bracket in order to make it to COD Champs. So this is the most important round fucking possible, and this is what everyone needs to take note of. This is where everything's going to be on the line, right? Sure, everyone's talking about, first, but what's more important? Winning first and getting, a better seed at COD Champs, or making fucking COD Champs? This is where you're going to see a lot of people leave everything on the table. So let's take a look at it. So the first matchup we're going to be seeing here is going to be Cursed Las Vegas taking on Strictly Business. Winner of this makes it to COD Champs. So right now, what this means is that FaZe, Complexity, FB, or Strictly Business will have to play Cursed Las Vegas, Justice, or Cursed New York in order to make it to COD Champs. So right away, it's fucking nuts. I don't know how to word it, but basically right away, you can start to see how this starts to really start fucking people. So we're going to start moving down here. Xfinity versus Elevate. Let's just go ahead. I know Mud Dog's really happy. I'm sorry, Red Baron, aka Nable. I'm just going to go ahead and go Xfinity. So then Denial will be playing Xfinity. The winner of that will make COD Champs. Then, last but certainly not least, you have Rise versus Cursed New York. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and give it to New York. Not that it's a 3-0, it's just easiest for me to write it. So right here in the Losers Round 2, this is everything you need to know. 4 of these teams will not be making it to COD Champs. Well, let's just go ahead and go down the line. Assuming that Cursed Las Vegas doesn't get their shit together, which is how it's looking, which is why I said they lose to Justice. We're going to go ahead and say Strictly Business advances 3-2, just because I don't want to catch flack from anyone. Strictly Business has secured themselves a bid into COD Champs. Denial versus Xfinity. This one's going to be a toss-up. I want Mud Dog to be there, so I'm just going to kind of go with that. But just for this show, right? I'm not putting any money on this. And then Envy versus ADV. Now, this is where these bottom 2 matchups are freaking tough, man. Like, you're talking very, very tough teams. ADV is a team who's got a lot of hype going into this event, and they bring a lot of hype when they play. Envy, on the other hand, is a team who's kind of been getting overlooked by some other teams, but they're still making noise in both the online league and in general. So I think Envy's going to be perfectly okay for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and advance Envy. Now, if you guys do use this bracket, by the way, you got to fucking click the winner and submit the scores. It's a pain in the ass. So this is where things get just tough, right? I mean, New York versus FaZe. FaZe, obviously, is a really good team. NY has a lot of momentum going into this. And, Revan's one of those guys who was one of the first people to pick up using, the strong arm with the double nades. I mean, he basically did that. He was actually talking about that all the way back in Columbus. He was like, strong arm, double nades, over, right? Like, you just cause so much havoc. In FaZe, they run a lot of double nades, and they're pretty good at search, but their respawn's really good. Their domination's good. New York, on the other hand, they're just good. I don't think they have necessarily a complete weakness because, they sit down and they're very, very constructive. They're not like their counterparts, Cursed Las Vegas, who are toxic in the way they rebuild themselves. So, I think NY versus FaZe is going to be a battle for the fucking just everyone to see. So when I look at it, one of these teams aren't going to make it, okay? And that means I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to give it to New York just for the show. Just for the show. I'm a fanboy of both those teams, so it's tough. So now, if you look here and you scroll all the way up, Complexity, Optic, TK, Justice, SB, Xfinity, Envy, New York will be the 8 teams making COD Champs according to this bracket. So once you get to round 3 of the losers bracket, this is exactly how you know what teams will be making it out of the losers bracket to COD Champs. Then, it goes on and there's more matchups and you guys can fill that out, but I'm not here to do that. I just wanted to show you guys the road that is potential. So again, the loser, like this right here, is always going to be set in stone. So if Rise beat Cursed Las Vegas, and then Curse Las Vegas lose to Curse New York, it doesn't matter, right? Like, Rise will go right here. It's just the loser of this spot plays the winner of this spot. So, other than that, I hope, I'm sitting on my foot weirdly, I don't know. Other than that, I hope you guys understand the bracket. And besides that, I love you, but I don't love you. Next episode, I'm talking about Halo 2 Anniversary. Hold on to your dicks. Later. Woo!